plays the Mecca for the very first time. Luka Doncic taking on the Knicks in New York City. His first visit to the Big Apple as an NBA player tonight. And in Boston, no Kyrie Irving tonight. That's good news for Kemba Walker and the Charlotte Hornets, who are playing good ball. They've won 5 of 7 as they get set to take on the Celtics. Hey, again, it's Game Time live from our Atlanta studio. The NBA celebrates Chinese New Year this week. The Year of the Pig begins Tuesday, February 5th. Shout out to Pig Miller.
Yes.
Played parts of 8 seasons in the NBA.
P.I.G.
Spartan.
then he dropped the G, Matt. P.I. That's what he goes by now.
He dropped the G?
Dropped the G.
I think I'm gonna
I need to know why this.
I don't know why. I don't have that. I'm gonna text him and find out.
That is fascinating.
I didn't know that.
He's P.I. now.
He was always Pig Miller. Now he's
He
just
was.
P.I. Miller?
Just
P.I. Miller. Not even.
He's Anthony P.I.
That's another Spartan dog. Steve Smith.
I don't have
Grant
the
Hill, I'm Matt
explanation.
Weiner. I'm tripped up
What
by
are you
this.
dropping, G?
I was gonna drop the T and just go
Grand?
Grand?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Grand Hill, like large hill.
I dropped the N. a long time ago.
Oh
Huh.
man.
All right. Anthony Davis, by the way, guys.
Matt
Still,
with one T. How would you? Let me see.
that'd still be Matt.
No, I was just trying to.
Doesn't work. Yeah. You could drop both T's and it'd be
I'm sorry,
Ma.
Matt. Go ahead.
Matt. Anthony Davis, still a Pelican, still unavailable due to a finger injury, and as far as we know, still sticking to his trade request. That obviously is a huge subject tonight for a Pelicans team that won in Houston last night, by the way. Denver in town, as I mentioned. Alvin Gentry addressed the media before the game in New Orleans and was asked about how the team is handling all of the outside noise.
Coach, coming off a win like last night, do you think that addresses some of the national gnashing of teeth that this team is looking to take after the AD news?
To be honest with you, Jen, we don't really care. We don't care about any of the outside noise. We really don't. It's a group of guys in there that's going to play hard and play together and try to compete at the highest level. And when they do, that's going to be satisfactory to me because I know that they'll give everything that they got. So the perception of who we are outside the locker room or with the national media doesn't really it doesn't really matter to us. I mean, we know who we are and we know what we're going to try to do.
You think some of these guys can come together and be greater than the sum of their parts, so to speak?
Well, synergy has always been a thing that has kind of driven, the teams that's really facing, kind of driven adversity, if you want to call it that. But I think as a coach, my whole deal is like if you play hard and you play together and you compete, at the highest level that you can, good things usually happen. So that's got to be, our motto, for the rest of the season. And when we have healthy guys, we'll play them, and when they're not healthy, we'll have to play someone else. And that's the way we got to look at it.
Anybody coming back tonight?
No, we'll have the same group that we had last night. So we'll have to have guys step up, and we'll try to distribute the minutes. And the one thing we're trying to do is not, overextend Drew's usage and try to get him enough rest that, he can be effective and have other guys step up, and they did last night.
What's it been like to have AD around after all this? I mean, is it different in any way? Is he acting the exact same way he did before this trade demand?
I think we all are. AD's a good kid. He's a good, solid kid, and the guys in the locker room obviously like him, and he likes them, and nothing has changed from a coaching standpoint. So it was within his right to do to ask for that, and so it's out there. And the one thing that we can't do as coaches and as players and as a team is that we can't let that number one be an excuse for us, and number two affect the way we think or what we try to do.
with John's recent performance, a lot of the conversation around his career the past few years is that maybe the league is moving away from those low post centers, and you see the way he's performing. You're going against Jokic tonight. Do you think that's kind of changing, or do you think that was kind of overrated in the first place? What do you think about the low post?
Well, I just think he just needed to be in the right situation, and sometimes it takes a couple of stops for the guys to be that way and find a team where they fit into. He's been really good for us, and I think he's been really good because he's put in the work. If you come in before practice, he's in there and he put in the work, and after practice, he's putting in the work. And I think the biggest thing for me is that he went through a stretch where he had a lot of DNPs, and it didn't affect him anyway. He came back the next day and even worked that much harder. And I told him that, at some stage you'll get an opportunity, and you just got to be ready. And I think he seized the opportunity and took advantage of it because I think he's playing really good basketball for us.
When AD gets cleared from this injury, do you anticipate him to play another game for you guys?
That's a hard thing to answer. I don't really know how to answer that, really.
Assuming he's not been traded.
I assume that he will. I don't, that's something that obviously is going to have to be discussed and seeing, what's best for him, what's best for our team.
I mean, is it awkward in any way having him?
No. It's not awkward at all. I think if you ask every guy in the locker room, they'll tell you the same thing. He's the same guy. He asked to be traded, but he's the same guy. All of a sudden, his personality didn't change, and all of a sudden, everybody in the locker room, we don't feel differently about him at all. It's one of those things, and we'll have to manage it, as an organization, and he'll have to manage it, as an individual, and we'll get through the whole thing.
Coach, in last night's game, I think it may have been 24 seconds left in the game. Anthony Davis came up to you guys. I think he said something to you and Coach Finch. Did he give you some advice or something you noticed on the court?
You think I'm going to answer that?
I was just curious if
It was conversation, yeah, and it was very good conversation. Okay. It was very positive conversation, yes. And that's not the first time he's done that, and he's still. He's a part of our team, guys. he's on our team, okay?
I know you talked about it last night, but I guess a little bit overall, what do you think about the way Drew played against Harden last night?
I think that's as good as you can ever hope for. And, I'll say this right now, and if I'm rallying for him, then so be it. But, to me, he deserved to be on an all-star team. He really does. What he does and what we ask him to do, and as a two-way player, and obviously I know that our team has not been as successful as we would have thought it would be at this stage of the season. But to hold Harden to 37 points, and that in itself is a crazy statement to say to hold somebody to 37 points. But he took 32 shots, and I thought that Drew did a great job on him. And he's 6 for 18 from three. At this stage of the season and what he's doing, that's about as good as you're going to be able to guard him defensively.
I know there have been reports about AD asking if he's going to play again, but if Mirotic and Randall get healthy, do you expect them to play again, or is this kind of holding pattern with them too?
I expect anything. If a guy is able to play and he's on the roster, we're going to play him, okay? That's the way it is right now. If anything change, I'll let you guys will be the first to know. But if a guy's healthy and says, I'm ready to play, then right now our intentions are to play anybody that's healthy. But right now we got 10 guys, so those are the 10 that we'll have to play tonight. And if anybody have any suggestions, I'm open for that too. But Fletcher, I've seen your jump shot, and I don't think you can help us right now, okay?
Same skeleton crew available tonight for the Pelicans at home against the Nuggets as the one last night, which you saw in person, that beat the Houston Rockets on the road. Impressive win and pretty good defense against James Harden last night. But I want to get into the situation with Anthony Davis and the fact that he's around the team as all this is going on. Obviously, he can't play because he's injured. That's one thing, but he's on the bench. We see him rooting there. He appears to be doing all the right things in terms of trying to be a good teammate. But Is it odd to you that after this has become public that he's around the team to this degree?
You know, Matt, I mean, it's unusual in the sense that it became public. I think trade requests from star players is common. It happens a lot.
Sure.
A lot of times it just happens behind closed doors. The public is not aware of it, usually between the agent and the front office, and things get worked out. Obviously, we're in a bit of a different age right now, and of course, Anthony Davis's team, his representation team, put that out there.
Right.
So it makes everything uncomfortable. But look, we can question decisions, where he may go, why he left, should he have left, or should he decide to leave. But I think his character has been something that we all can speak to, and he's going to be a professional no matter what. And whether this thing, there's something sort of happens here before the trade deadline or it goes to next summer, I think he's going to do his part to try to help his team win. He's employed right now by the Pelicans. Assuming he gets healthy and comes back and plays, I think he's going to compete and play hard. There's a chance that might not happen. There's a lot of uncertainty in the air. But I think the fact that this has been made public, he's still in the middle of the season, it's just unusual for us to have to talk about it, and it become the major topic of conversation.
It seems unusual, and yet a few months ago we were talking about Jimmy Butler in a very similar situation because it was out there and the team had to play through it with Butler on the floor with them at the same time. How would you feel as a teammate about potentially playing with Anthony Davis or just having him on the bench for your games, knowing he doesn't want to be a part of this?
You know, Matt, to go back, at first, like what Grant said, in our era, it was behind closed doors. And then a lot of times I played with players, I'm sure Grant has, but it was because of contract dispute, playing time dispute, and you guys would say, I'm ready to go. I'm not playing. You hear blow-ups in the locker room with management and coaches, and you understand. And they would come out and play, and it was awkward because you can see that guy sometimes gunning, taking 9, 10 straight shots, or that guy not taking shots, passing up shots. You throw them to him, catch it, throw it back to you. He is disgruntled. So I think Grant said it best, and we've all known, he's such a high character kid, Anthony Davis. This makes it even unusual because he's going to probably play extremely hard the same way if he does play. And then how his teammates going to handle this in the media? That's the one part you look at it is you would love to, and maybe he's done it, as Anthony Davis get a chance to take his team out to dinner, tell them what's going on, what's on his mind, so they can have, be able to be equipped to be able to answer these questions the way because he hasn't said much. Because if I'm the media, which we are, we're trying to get to Drew Holiday, we're trying to get to Alvin, we're trying to get to everybody is why and where does he want to go. So I think that's the one thing. Hopefully they've tightened that up and they keep that in-house.
Well, unlike the Butler situation, there are no stories out there of blow-ups at practice or confrontations with players. He's not sniped at any teammates in the past. So if you guys could explain to the folks what kind of a high-wire act this is that he's walking right now and just how well-liked he must be to pull this off, essentially, to make a trade request and not have any backlash there.
Extremely well-liked, high character. One thing as I would just advise from him is still be yourself. Don't let this process change you. Let your agent do a lot of the talking, and if you have to, be behind closed doors when you're having meetings with management, coaching staff, because if it gets out in the media and you start talking to the media like us, Grant, and we get a chance to put our spin on it, it could go any kind of way.
Sure.
And I think you're right, Smitty. Man, the most important thing is keep quiet, let your representation handle things, and if and when you do come back, assuming he comes back and play great basketball. Give it your all, leave it all out there. I think the respect in the locker room is important, and it seems like it's there.
Right.
Just the fact, as you said, he's talked to his guys. He was still engaged in the game last night, which was a little awkward to see. But he's a good guy. Could be a little uncomfortable with the fans. You know how that plays out, and
That'll be
fans
tonight.
Yeah, exactly. The fans, particularly the home fans in New Orleans. So if he's back with the team and that could be a weird sort of reception of sorts. But go out, be professional, play great basketball like he's done his whole career, and like I anticipate he'll continue to do.
You know what, Matt? He might have to start pulling out that credit card and paying for dinner.
More dinner?
Yes.
Yeah.
More dinners coming up?
No more free dinners in New Orleans.
I would be very curious to hear what the fan reaction is tonight, assuming he walks out to sit on the bench again with his teammates. I'm also still trying to figure out why the agent went on the record with this, knowing that there was a fine coming, $50,000, when you could just leak it for free. I still haven't figured out the upside of that exactly. But
I might make my agent.
Oh, he's paying for that, John. I'll say he's paying for that.
They both got the money. It's not a problem.
It's not a problem.
Still.
Yeah.